You need to be bored again. I am convinced the answer to all of your problems about being able to create a new identity and create a better life for yourself is to be bored. Think about it. We wake up every single day, right? And we want to have a better life, but our actions completely contradicts that. You want to get in shape, but you miss the gym. You want to get better knowledge to change your life, but you can't read a book. You want to get in shape, you can't stick to a diet. You want to make more money, but you don't take any action. Now, the identity and the behaviors is a complete mismatch. It's a complete contradiction, okay? Your brain's like, right, he wants to change his ways, but there's no evidence in the behavior to be able to back that up. So this is one of the biggest things, obviously, I believe there's actually a war on our attention span at the moment, because the less we can focus means the less successful we're going to become. And if something feels amazing instantly, then anything that is delayed, we're not actually going to put much effort into be able to receiving. Because why would you wait for a good feeling when you could just pick up, I don't even know where my phone is, you can just pick up your phone and get one. Whenever you feel an uncomfortable emotion, you can numb yourself straight away. Whenever you're going through heartbreak, you can just put a photo up and get loads of validation and external pleasures given to you. If you're hungry, you can get food delivered to the house within a short space of time. This is what is going on, and this is crazy, and this is why I truly believe it's never been as easy to be successful, but it's also never been as hard to change your life, because these are addictions that people carry around. It's basically like someone walking around with a crack pipe. Now, in order to go somewhere you've never been, you've got to become someone you never have, and to become someone you never have, you need an attention span to be able to focus long enough to be able to create that person. Welcome to boredom. I wish I had another answer for you, but after hundreds and thousands of hours of studying and coaching, there isn't. I had a client yesterday who gets overwhelmed, gets stressed, gets anxious, doesn't like having to do difficult tasks, gets into a shutdown mode. So yesterday we have a call. I'm like, what's going on, bro? What's going on? Let's look at the habits. Wakes up in the morning and first thing he does is take a snooze. Then he checks his phone. Okay? Then he's just walking around the house playing games. Then he has a coffee. Then he has a can of Monster on the way to work. Then he gets to work and then he has another 8 snooze throughout the rest of the day while he's scrolling. Then he's playing games before bed and watching Netflix. And then he's wondering why when it comes to something difficult, he can't and won't stick to it. Because your life is just filled with stimulation that your brain is getting from the moment you wake up in the morning. Think about it. You wake up in the morning and you have this hit. Might be the coffee, might be the phone, might be nicotine, whatever it might be. That has set the standard. So your stress hormones are at the highest first thing in the morning. So you've spiked straight away. So now that is the baseline. So you need to constantly get to that stage every single day in order to be able to feel normal. Otherwise, you start to crash. So again, you add more caffeine, you add more negative habits, you add more scrolling, you add more stimulation to the mind. When are you going to be able to focus? That won't bring focus, because having to read a book, having to prep your meals, having to go to the gym, having to sit down and really start to understand your thoughts takes mental discipline, and you can only have mental discipline when you can actually focus for long enough. So it's not about doing more when changing your life. It's about having a removal process first. We need to dissolve everything that's currently in your life that isn't serving you, because that is just going to be a complete barrier to the version of you that you want to be able to get to. So the best way to describe this is the biggest wake-up call. Would the version of you living in the life that you want to be able to create wake up and check his phone straight away? No. Because that version, let's take materialism out of the way. He would be at peace. He would be at calm. He would know the damage it does to his brain. He would know the damage short form content does to his brain. And he would make up every single morning and know that his focus needs to be the main priority. Now, we're taught that it's habits. We're taught that it's all of these fancy, nice, shiny objects, but it's actually not. I wake up every single day, okay, at 4:30 a.m. I wake up, right, and I sit in silence for 1 hour. Now, the reason I wake up that early is because my brain is so much more active in the morning. I can be so much more productive. I can get all of my deep work done and my focus done without any distractions, okay? I choose that wake up time because I go to sleep at 7:30. right? That's purely because that works for me. That works for me, and that works for my time zones with my clients. So that works for me. You need to pick what works for you. But you need to start getting some stability back into your body. Go to bed the same time, wake up the same time, don't touch the phone. Just start there. Because the more that you are letting yourself down and you're having all of this noise come to your mind, how can you focus on having discipline with your thoughts? It doesn't make sense. Because you're not going to have the attention span to be aware of why that thought has come in. How has that thought made me feel? I need to regulate and saturate my mind with the thoughts from the future version of me in this moment. But if you just lead yourself to numbing, you're never going to be able to have the mental focus to actually deal with them thoughts. So you can watch as many podcasts as you want, you can read as many books as you want, you can study as much as you want. But if you can't focus long enough to actually implement new behaviors to match your identity, it's completely pointless. Like it's so pointless. You're going to be wanting a better life, but you're not doing it. I cannot stress this enough. And I've spent years studying and working and relentlessly pursuing to find an answer, to be able to finally break through that pattern of frustration of not being able to change. I went through so many difficult stages in my life that was brutal, like brutal. And I could never understand why. I was like, why have I been dealt these cards? Why have I been dealt these cards? And it would have been so much more easier for me to be able to deal with when I was younger if I wasn't constantly numbing myself. If I actually had the mental discipline to be able to see this from the outlet that I can see it now. When something happens now, I zoom out. It's not happening to me. Don't divert into drink and all the other stuff in order to be able to numb myself and scrolling and being and actually starting to feel these emotions. And you start to build mental discipline to be able to deal with situations so much better rather than spiraling. I beg every single person that watches one of my videos, I just pour my heart out to all of you. Every single day there's a video there because I genuinely want all of you to change your life and have a better life. And I don't think you realize how simple and easy it actually is to be able to do that because everyone else is distracted. Everyone else is watching and consuming, watching and consuming, watching and consuming. And they have the minds there, but their behaviors don't match. And it takes a while. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, it can be done overnight. It takes a while to try, to fail, to try, to fail, to try, to fail, and then you break through. When I got rid of most of the negative vices that I had, I knew, I was like, right, for the first month, I'm going to fail so much. I'm going to relapse on the old thingy. I'm going to, reach for something else. I know that it's going to happen, but I'm going to do everything in my power to bring myself back. That's okay. And then the next day gets better, and the next day gets better, and the next day gets better, until your identity matches your behavior. So your behavior matches the identity. So I wanted for 3 or 4 years, I wanted to build, I wanted to put content out there. Now, I was always putting content out there, but it wasn't from the heart. It wasn't from me. It was forced because I felt I had to do it. Because my identity was I want to, but my behavior was forcing. Now my identity is embodied in the person that has reached a level that I want to be able to reach, and my behavior is effortlessly. That's why before, when I wanted to film YouTube videos, I would kind of do one every now and then. Now I just do one every single day because I actually love it, because I've just installed that identity and that behavior. But I had to get rid of all of the overstimulation and my attention span that would... Why would I want to sit down and talk at a camera and get a good feeling from it when I can just sit there and scroll? It doesn't make sense, okay? So this is why you need to make sure that you remove everything out of your life that doesn't serve you. You need to get bored, stare at a wall, like literally just sit there and just stare at a wall. Start with a minute and go up a minute every single day and do it as many times as you possibly can, right? Whenever you feel to scroll, stare at a wall, read a book. Sit in silence. Do nothing. Like, you have to have no life, because it isn't normal to spend your life doing these things. These objects have been designed to fry your brain and bring you into a state of panic, overwhelm, and always feeling isn't it mad, that you always feel like you're missing out on something, and you have the urgency to do something as quick as you can, but you don't actually take any actionable steps to make it happen. So you're just stuck in this loop. You have a fear of missing out of something on the app, right? You have an urgency to achieve something, but you don't actually do anything to do it. It just doesn't make sense, right? So if, say for example, you want to move in revenue, okay? Now, say you make, I don't know, 5 grand a month and you want to move up to 50 grand a month. Now, what behaviors would the 50 grand a month person do? He wouldn't wake up anxiously checking his bank. He wouldn't wake up anxiously checking his emails and WhatsApps and to see if anyone's booked in or anyone's asked if they want any work, right? He wouldn't wake up every single morning and just numb his brain. You have to, the identity and what the behavior would be, and then remove the negative behavior and then replace it with the positive one. Always remove first. Don't try and go over the top because it won't work. Then you will start to get fun. You will start to get enjoyment from these tasks. Now, a lot of people will say, you know, drop one thing out and then just 24 hours, get rid of everything and just go through the trenches for the first 4 or 5 days. Just drop it out completely. Be relentless in your pursuit to being better. And I promise you, you will start to see change. You will be proud of yourself. Your mind will feel incredible. You will be able to focus. Your nervous system is going to be calm. What would the version of you in your dream life be feeling? Calm. Your nervous system would feel safe because you're not anxiously checking for proof. Okay, this is how you do really shift your internal world, and the external world will start to mold around you because you're taking action from a safe, embodied nervous system and not from an anxious survival mode. So when I wanted to build my business, I wanted to achieve all of these amazing things, but I was anxiously checking every single day for proof. What you find normal finds you. So when you buy a pair of trainers, you love them, you're excited about them when you was younger, and then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, you're in the park playing football with them because you didn't care about them because it was just normal. You move into a new house you're excited to start with, but then 2 years down the line, it's just normal. So imagine the milestones that you would have, embody the behaviors now if you would have them, all right? And that's because you would find it normal. So if you was making a certain amount of money, you wouldn't anxiously check your bank every single day because it's normal for that amount of money to land. Remember, the identity is someone of abundance, but the behavior needs to be able to match it. Say, for example, you wanted to grow your business on social media, all right? You would post. You wouldn't be anxiously checking the apps to see how it done. Surrender, because it would be normal to just do well. You wouldn't be excited to check because it would just be the normal. Same with business. Say you've got a huge business. You wouldn't be anxiously checking your emails because it would just be normal that this work comes through. I have one client who's brilliant at this. Like, he's so good at this. He's like, I'll wake up and I'll stress and I'll check and I'll check and I'll check and I'll check. That was when we first started working together. Now, wakes up, goes for a walk with the dog, has his morning to himself, does his own thing. And now guess what's happening? Everything is just flooding around him. He has a clear mind, so the action, don't get it twisted. This isn't just think, remove, and it happens. You still have to take the right action. But I get so excited from action now. I love it. I love taking that action. There's enjoyment there. How would the version of me living in my life be there? He would be enjoying taking the action, right? And this is the same as the guy. When he works, you get excited. You get a dopamine hit from it. So that work is being done from a good place. That's from a conscious place. And then he's getting more evidence that clients are coming in. So he knows how to move with the flow now. Same as this with you. Please, please, please start doing this, okay? Identity. What behavior contradicts that? Remove it. Then incorporate a new one. So another example, I want you to have as much as you can. I was waking up, anxiously checking my phone, kind of doing a little bit of work in the morning, and then that was it. When it was time to change, I would wake up, 1 hour in silence to regulate myself and to get bored, okay? Removed the anxiously checking the phone and replaced it with deep work. So every from 6 in the morning until about 10 o'clock, it's just 4 hours of me focusing on every aspect of the business that I want to be able to do, okay? And then in the afternoon, I have calls with clients, and then that's perfect. I get enjoyment from both of them. Why going to the gym and get massive as well, all right? So that is enough for you to be able to just get started. Don't waste another day. Get the attention span back. Be bored, be bored, be bored. All right. Listen to classical music. If you're going to listen to anything, don't go down the YouTube rabbit holes. Don't waste your time, right? If you make 100 grand a month and you want to make £1 million a month, we have to start changing identity and behaviors. This is what happens when my clients come to me and they're suffering with their mental health. They're in survival mode first and they have these massive goals. And it's like, you can forget about that goal until we remove and get you regulated and sorted first into a state of peace. Then you will be able to deal with that amount, because God is not going to send you something that is going to crush you. Why are you going to get sent even more business when you have a nervous system and overstimulation that overwhelm would not be able to deal with that amount of pressure? You are going to crumble. Toffee crumble. Get that attention span back. Be bored, all right? If you need to learn how to be bored, sit in silence for 5 minutes a day and go up 30 seconds every single day. And then when you drop into that awareness in the silence, just have a little visualize. And then the positive self-talk throughout the rest of the day will actually start to land and start to register, because your mind is calm. And it's not scatty and chaotic. You're actually going to be able to talk to yourself, which is then going to shift internally, all right, which is going to create a level of peace, which then means you don't need anything to happen to feel a certain way, because you have that emotion already, and then everything else will land on top of you. Be bored. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Brad Parker. This is the Melior Life. I'm just a lad that went through a load of stuff, became someone that studied the answer, and now I teach a load of stuff to people like mobile award-winning music artists, TV personalities, DJs, CEOs, directors, professional athletes, you name it. I've had the privilege to be able to be in their corner and help them get out of it. If you need any help at any point, link in the description to apply to work with me. If not, enjoy the content. This is the Melior Life, baby.